Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Fatehah binti and today my group and I will present a chapter which is Russia and its neighboring country. So let's travel to Russia. Russia is the largest country in the world. It stretches over the vast expanse of Eastern Europe and Northern Asia. Once the preeminent Republic of the Union or Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR, commonly known as the Soviet Union, Russia became an independent country after the dissolution of the Soviet Union in December 1991. The official name of Russia is Russia Federation, and Moscow is the capital of the Russia, with population of roughly 142 million. Russia is a federation of 86 republics, provinces, territories, and districts, all controlled by the government in Moscow. The head of the state is president that is elected by the people. The economy is based on a vast supply of natural resources such as oil, iron ore, gold, and aluminium. Now, I will explain about the climate in Russia. The climate in Russia can be described as highly continental influence climate with warm to not dry summer and very cold winter with temperature of negative 13 degrees Celsius and lower and sometimes heavy snowfall. Sometimes very strong easterly winds called buran can occur, bringing freezing cold temperatures and snowstorms. There are 5 areas in Russia that have different temperatures. The first one is northern Russia. At the greater distance northward, climate gets colder and winter gets longer. Boreal climate up to 1 to 3 months with average temperature at least 10 degrees Celsius. The next one is Eastern Siberia. In January, it is usually below 30 degrees Celsius, while in July, the average temperature is 12 to 16 degrees Celsius. The annual difference is 45 degrees Celsius and it is closer to Pacific Ocean, thus make humid but still have long, very cold winter. The third one is Southern Russia, which is Central Asia. The climate is more arid. The region here relies on the snow melt from mountains along the southern borders for the water supply. While in the Western Russia, the winter temperature average is negative 5 to negative 10 degrees Celsius. The summer average 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. Last but not least, Central Siberian Plateau. It has greater descent inland, reduced precipitation of 40 to 80 cm. The falls mainly in the summer, but have long-lasting snow during winter. The temperature is between 0 to negative 15 degrees Celsius. That's all from me. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nabila, the reporter from TC News. Today, I will explain more about the environmental issues in Russia. For information, we have discovered 4 main issues, which is the oil pollution, air pollution, nuclear pollution, and threatened fisheries issue. Frequent oil pipeline breaks, leakage, and spill are the major problems that cause the oil pollution in Russia. A station in Sayano-Shukankaya collapsed in Siberia in 2009, which created 80 miles long of oil slick along Yenisei River. Air pollution is a significant problem in several major Russian cities, including the Moscow and St. Petersburg, while also in some smaller cities where industrial facilities are under the less scrutiny for environmental compliance. Next is about nuclear pollution. The 1986 Chernobyl nuclear reactor explosion has affected around north of Kyiv immediately, but the fallout was worse in north of Belarus, which is now known as the international tourist venue in Russia. Before the incident of 1986, Kustum incident in 1957 took place in the Urals also exposed harmful nuclear radiation to almost 5,000 people in that country. And lastly, the threatened fisheries issue. Fish stock, plants and animal life in the Black Sea was killed due to the toxic waste, ship ballast, water and nutrients from fertilized fields. With all the environment problem, I believe the Russian government and also the citizens have found the best method to fix all the issues early. That's all from me. I'm Farah, reporting from TC News. History in Russia began with the Eastern slave. Proto-Soviet people occupied the land between the area of Vistula and the Dnieper River in 1500. Proto-Slavic people were divided into three main branches, which is the first one is the Western Slav, which is the Poland, Czech and Slovakia, Southern Slav, Bulgaria, Croatia and Macedonia, Serbia, and lastly the Eastern Slav, Russian, Ukraine and Belarus. After the 13th century, Moscow became a political and cultural center. Moscow has become a center for the unification of Russian land, and Moscow had emerged in the principality of the Vladimir Suzdal on the trade between the Baltic and Black Seas. The consolidated territories governed from Moscow, now known as Muscovy. The rise of the Grand Duchess of Moscow became the Tsardom of Russia in 1547. However, in 1721, Tsar Peter the Great renamed his state as the Russian Empire. By the early of 1900th century, the Russian Empire already achieved its greatest extent in the world. Because of economic breakdown, war weariness, and discontent with the autocratic system of government triggered the Russian Revolution in 1917. Soviet Russia, Soviet Ukraine, Soviet Belarus, and Transcaucasian SFSR signed a treaty on the creation of the USSR, officially merging all four republics to form the Soviet Union as the country in 1922. And it was the first country to have an official communist government in the world. Again, by the mid of 1980th centuries, with the weakness of the Soviet economy and political structure become acute, Mikhail Gorbachev, the eighth and the last leader of the Soviet Union, embarked on a major reform, which eventually led to overthrow of the Communist Party and breakup of the USSR agreement. The Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic renamed itself as the Russian Federation and became one of the several successors to the Soviet Union. Move on to the culture in Russia. Within this culture, it can be divided into four categories, which is language, religion, traditional food, and lastly, traditional clothes. Russia is an official language in Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and is used widely as a lingua franca throughout the Caucasus, Central Asia. Most half of people in Russia follow the Russian Orthodox Church, which is the Christianity, and Christian is actually the main religion in Russia. Besides that, Islam also the second largest religion in Russia, which is take about 10% until 15% of the Russians that practice Islam in that country. For the traditional food in Russia, the traditional food is they have borscht, solyanka, and pirozhki. Lastly, we will go for the traditional core ada rubaka, kokoshnik, and shuba.
Russia started approving tourists to enter on August 1st, 2020, beginning with Tanzania, United Kingdom and Turkey. Then, on August 15, flights resumed with Switzerland and Swiss tourists were permitted to enter Russia. Most recently, in 2021, Russia started allowing visitors from Finland, India, Qatar and Vietnam. As of January 25, 2021, only 18 nations are permitted to visit. Everyone who enters Russia need to do quarantine first. With a vast landmass, extensive natural resources, more than 144 million consumers, and pressing infrastructure needs, Russia remains a major potential market for US exporters. Russia is the world's 11th largest economy by nominal gross domestic product (GDP) and 6th largest by purchasing power parity (PPP), as cited by the International Monetary Fund (IMF). I will move on to the organization of the country. The President of the Russian Federation is the head of state of the Russian Federation, as well as the Commander-in-Chief of the Russian Armed Forces. It is the highest office in Russia. The President is elected directly through a popular vote to a 6-year term. In May 2012, Vladimir Putin became the fourth president. He was re-elected in March 2018 and inaugurated in May to a 6-year term. Next, the chairman of the government of the Russian Federation, also known as the Prime Minister. is the head of the Russian government, the chief executive of the Russian cabinet, and the second most powerful figure in the Russian Federation. Mikhail Mishustin is the current Prime Minister. He came into power on 16 January 2020 after Dmitry Medvedev resigned.
Privet Menya zovut Afrina Athirah Ocean Privetna, which means, "Hi, my name is Afrina Athirah. Nice to meet you." Now, I'm going to present the sub-region of Russia. First is Soviet countries. Soviet countries are contained of the Russian Federation, Ukraine, Belarus, and Moldova. Second is Southern Caucasus. It contains of Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. Third is Central Asia. It consists of Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. Next, we go to the neighboring countries with economic activities of each sub-region. The Soviet countries. Russian Federation is far the largest in land area of any country in the sub-region and in the world. In mid-2010, it had 77% of the world region's area. It had experienced economic hardship in 90s. Remains a nuclear power and continues to hold one of the permanent seats of the UN Security Council. It had only become independent in 1991. Ukraine was independent only for a brief period after World War I until it became part of the Soviet Union in 1922. Belarus was never independent before 1991 and was actually part of the either Russian Empire or the Polish-Lithuanian Kingdom. Moldova was never independent and has been district for the territory for fewer than 200 years. Economic development. Soviet economic policies is tied to the Soviet countries closely together, but many Ukrainians, Belarusian, and Moldovans prefer the greater independence for their countries. It had developed heavy industry during Soviet times, but did not keep equipment up to date. The economies began to grow again in the 2000s. GDPs have increased on average by 6 to 8% in most years. Oil and gas only accounted in 30% of Russia's GDP in 1999, but increased almost 32% in 2007. Ukrainian economies have been helped by the global price for steel. Belarus have done little of reform its bureaucracy and economy. Southern Caucasus. 3 countries in the Southern Caucasus, which is Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. It is located on the other side of Caucasus Mountain, or also referred as the Trans-Caucasus, means the area beyond the mountain. Caucasus Mountain from Russia and were once as a Russian colonies. The term Southern Caucasus is used to refer to these countries. The Northern Caucasus applied to the part of the Caucasus in Russia Federation. Different languages family, so most have little common. Georgian language is in the Caucasian language family and it has a unique alphabet. Armenian belongs to Indo-European language family but stands alone in its own branch. Azerbaijan is in the Ural-Altic language family. Georgian and Armenian have the same religion, which is Christian. The Armenian claims that their country was the first in the world that adopted Christianity. Azerbaijani are Islam. Arab introduced Islam to the Azerbaijan. The economic development in South Caucasus. All of these 3 countries have climates warmer and can produce agricultural products that are not available to the north. As an example, Georgia supplied 90% of the Soviet Union tea and citrus fruit. Armenia supplied fruit, especially grapes. Azerbaijan produced tobacco, cotton, and rice. Since 1991, they have increased their industrial and service sector. Georgia is located in the sunny, warm eastern shore of the Black Sea and it has great tourist potential. Azerbaijan, located on the Caspian Sea, will become one of the world's leading oil producers. Central Asia, former Soviet Union, which is Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Similar landlocked situation is either have the arid or semi-arid climates. Also, it widely spread of Islam there. Darya and Darya are one of the cradles of human civilizations. It has become the important role in trading goods and ideas. Bukhara city is located in Uzbekistan, become one of the leading centers of learning, culture, and art of Muslim. Some of Islam great historians, geographers, astronomers, and other scientists come from this area. There are 5 countries that were once part of Turkestan land. Many of their ancestors were nomadic, and their culture reflect their traditional ways. For example, Kazakh culture, it's customary to ask about well-being of someone's livestock before inquiring about the person's health. Nomadic people live in the yurt. Modern Central Asia no longer live in yurt but has become an important symbol in certain countries. As an example, yurt is an important symbol that appears in Kyrgyzstan flag. Turkmens good in making carpet and horse breeding. Akhaltiki, a breed of horse that well adapt to the desert, where they are the national emblem for Turkmenistan. This will now conclude our presentation. That is all from our group. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!